Most people think intelligence is a gift you're born with or a prize you earn after years of chasing success and information. But real intelligence, the kind that sees through confusion and acts with clarity, is not a matter of age or experience. It comes from training your mind in a very specific way. There is a mental shift so subtle, most miss it, but so powerful it can quietly put you steps ahead of people who've lived twice as long. It doesn't rely on talent or luck. It relies on awareness, discipline, and silence. And once you understand it, you stop trying to look smart and start becoming unshakably wise. Dear friends, most people live in reaction. Something happens and instantly they respond. A comment is made and they defend. A challenge appears and they panic. This is the ordinary way. But if you want to rise above the ordinary, if you want to become smarter than people twice your age, you must first master the pause, the space between what happens and how you respond to it. This is where wisdom is born. This is the unseen discipline that few practice, but the few who do appear to the world as gifted, intelligent, and calm beyond their years. When something disturbs your peace, most people react in a flash. Their ego takes over, their emotions erupt, and their decisions follow the impulse, not the intention. The mental trick that changes everything is to pause. Not to escape the situation, but to meet it with presence. This is not weakness, this is not hesitation, it is power. True power, the kind that comes from self-mastery. The pause allows you to see not just what is happening outside of you, but also what is happening inside. You notice the fear, the anger, the desire to react, and in that noticing, you are no longer controlled by it. Imagine being in a room where everyone is shouting, thoughts, emotions, voices, all demanding your attention. Most people will raise their voice too, trying to be heard above the chaos. But the wise one remains still, and in that stillness they hear what others miss. They see the truth hidden beneath the noise. That is what the pause gives you: clarity, insight, the ability to choose your response rather than be a slave to your reaction. This pause is not about time, it is about awareness. You can pause in a single breath. In one deep inhale, you can reclaim control of your mind. You can watch the situation unfold without being dragged into it. You become the observer, not the puppet. And when you speak or act after that pause, your words carry weight, your actions hold purpose. People listen not because you speak loudly, but because you speak with precision. The young man who learns this becomes a force. While others are still fighting to be seen or heard, he is mastering the space within himself. And because of that mastery, he becomes wiser faster. Not through books, not through age, but through presence. This is why some people seem far older than their years. They have learned to live from awareness, not impulse. Think about the people you admire, the ones whose words stay with you, the ones who walk into a room and change the energy just by being there. It is not their age that gives them power, it is their presence. And presence is born in the pause. It is the art of being deeply rooted in the now, so much so that nothing shakes you. You see through the noise, the drama, the emotions. You see clearly, and when you see clearly, you can respond wisely. Training this mental trick begins with daily life. Do not wait for big moments. Start small. When someone interrupts you, pause. When your phone buzzes, pause. When a thought irritates you, pause. Each pause is a moment of training, a moment of sharpening your mind. It is like holding a sword under fire again and again until it becomes unbreakable. That is what you are doing with your awareness. You are tempering it, making it sharp, making it strong. The moment you start doing this, you will notice something strange. People around you will start to see you differently. They may not know what it is, but they will feel it. They will sense the calm in you, the depth, the control. They will speak more carefully around you, not out of fear but out of respect. And this respect is not given because of age or title, but because of energy. Your energy speaks before your words do, and when your energy is steady, people trust you. You will also start to notice how much people waste their intelligence by reacting. You will see their wisdom leak away in arguments, in distractions, in emotional outbursts. You will see how much time and energy is lost by those who cannot pause. And it will remind you of the gift you hold, the gift of that one breath, that sacred space between what happens and what you do next. When others argue, you will remain calm. When others panic, you will remain grounded. When others rush, you will remain deliberate, and in doing so you will always stay ahead, not in competition but in clarity. You will see things others miss, opportunities, emotions, strategies, all become visible when your mind is still. And because you are no longer clouded by reaction, your choices will carry wisdom beyond your age. This is how the mind becomes powerful, not by racing faster but by learning to stop at the right time. To pause not because you are unsure, but because you are deeply aware. This one mental shift changes everything. It changes how you think, how you lead, how you speak, how you live, and over time it builds a mind that is unshakable. So practice this now. Practice pausing before you act, before you speak, before you decide. Let the space become your training ground. Let silence become your teacher, and let presence become your strength. In this you will discover the real power of intelligence, not in knowing more, but in being more awake to what is already here. Walk slowly, breathe deeply, see clearly, and always remember, the one who masters the pause masters his life. The world is loud, always moving, always demanding your attention. Every second there is something pulling at your mind, a message, a notification, a voice, a thought. In this storm of noise, most people try to think harder, try to do more, try to force intelligence by pushing their mind to the limit. But they do not realize that the mind does not grow sharper through chaos. It grows sharper through stillness. The most powerful mental trick is not about learning more. It is about detaching from the noise. To become smarter than those twice your age, you must train your mind to be silent, even when the world is screaming. When your environment is loud, your mind becomes reactive. It bounces from one thought to another, from one problem to the next, from one emotion to the next. In this constant movement there is no depth, there is no clarity. It is like trying to see your reflection in a river full of waves. You cannot see the truth until the water is still. And the same is true for your mind. Until you find stillness, your intelligence remains hidden, buried beneath the surface of distraction. Detaching from the noise is not about running away. It is about stepping back. It is about reclaiming control over what enters your mental space. Most people allow everything in. News, gossip, fear, entertainment, endless opinions, all of it floods their mind, and they wonder why they feel lost, why they feel anxious, why they cannot think clearly. Your intelligence suffers not because you are lacking, but because you are overwhelmed. To think clearly, you must create space. That space is created by saying no. No to the unnecessary, No to the constant input. No to the things that do not feed your awareness. Every time you say no to the noise, you say yes to your mind. You allow it to breathe, to settle, to see. And in that space, you start to notice things. You notice patterns, emotions, insights that were always there but hidden beneath the surface. Stillness is not emptiness. It is awareness without effort. And from that awareness comes understanding that others miss. When you detach from the noise, you begin to realize how much noise was never yours. How many thoughts you carried that belonged to someone else. How many opinions you accepted without question. How many beliefs were planted in your mind without your permission. The moment you disconnect from the external voices, your internal voice becomes louder. And that voice is your guide. That voice is your real intelligence. It does not scream, it whispers. And to hear it, you must be silent. This is why those who appear wise do not speak often. They are not chasing attention. They are listening. They are watching. They are connected to something deeper. And that connection only comes when the mind is quiet, not passive, quiet. A quiet mind is not asleep. It is alert, without chaos. It is present without noise, and in that presence you can perceive reality as it is, not as you fear or hope it to be. The more time you spend in silence, the more sensitive your perception becomes. You start to feel the energy in a room. You start to read people beyond their words. You begin to sense opportunities and dangers before they become visible. This is not magic. This is the natural result of detaching from distraction. When you stop chasing everything outside, you start understanding everything inside. The trick is to practice this daily, not once a week, not only in retreats. Every day, create moments of silence, not just external silence, but inner silence. When you eat, eat in silence. When you walk, walk without music. When you sit, sit without reaching for your phone. In these moments, your mind begins to reset. It begins to slow down. And when the mind slows down, awareness rises. You will also notice that the more still your mind becomes, the more energy you conserve. Most people waste mental energy on useless thoughts. They replay conversations, they imagine problems, they argue in their head. All of it drains their power. A still mind does not leak energy, it stores it. And that stored energy becomes focus. When others get tired after an hour, you will still be fresh. When others get distracted, you will remain clear. This is the secret advantage of silence. It does not just make you wise, it makes you powerful. And as you grow in this practice, you will become someone others turn to. They may not understand why, but they will feel the difference. In your presence, they will feel calm. In your silence, they will feel depth. Your intelligence will not need to be proven, it will be felt. Because true intelligence does not speak to impress, it speaks to reveal. And it reveals only what is necessary, only what is true. You must protect this inner space, guard it like a temple. Do not let every thought, every opinion, every fear walk into your mind. Choose what enters, choose what stays, choose what serves your clarity. This is your responsibility, and it is also your freedom. When you learn to detach from the noise, you are no longer controlled by the world. You are no longer manipulated by emotion. You are no longer afraid of silence. You welcome it, because in silence you find strength. This is how you outgrow those twice your age. Not by collecting more information, but by mastering the space in which understanding grows. The world will keep getting louder, that is certain, But you do not have to match its volume. You do not have to speak louder to be heard. You only need to listen deeper. And when you speak, let it come from stillness. Walk the quiet path. Train the silent mind, and your intelligence will shine without needing to shout. Most people rush to speak because they fear silence. They feel that if they do not say something quickly, they will be forgotten, judged, ignored. So they talk without thinking. They fill the space with noise, not knowing that every unnecessary word takes them further from wisdom. The wise person does not speak to fill silence. He speaks to reveal truth. And truth is not loud, it is patient. If you want to become smarter than people twice your age, you must learn to observe first and speak last. This is not just a habit, it is a way of life. A silent strength that few understand but many feel. When you observe before you speak, you collect more than words. You collect patterns, emotions, intentions. You begin to see the things people do not say. You read the silence between their words, the pauses, the shifts, the tension. Most people are too busy preparing their reply to notice what is really being said. But when you train your mind to observe first, you allow yourself to absorb reality as it is, not as you assume it to be. Observation sharpens your awareness. It allows you to understand situations before reacting. It gives you the space to see from every angle, to read the room, to understand the emotions, not just the logic. And in that understanding, your words gain weight, not because they are louder, but because they come from clarity, not confusion. When you speak after observing, you are no longer reacting, you are responding. Your words are no longer noise, they are precision. In a world full of people trying to speak first to prove their intelligence, the one who waits becomes the one who is remembered. People feel the difference. They feel the depth. They sense that your words are not coming from impulse but from insight. And this is what gives you power. Not power over others, but power within yourself. You no longer speak to impress. You speak because it is needed. And when it is not needed, you remain silent. Silence is not emptiness, it is presence. When you listen deeply, when you hold back your voice, when you choose not to speak just to be seen, you begin to cultivate a different kind of intelligence. The kind that sees through deception, that feels beyond logic, that notices the truth hidden behind words. This intelligence is rare because it requires patience and discipline. It requires comfort with not being the center, and that is where your strength grows. While others chase attention, you build perception. You will find that the more you observe, the more people reveal themselves, not through their words, but through their patterns. You will see who they are without them needing to tell you. And this allows you to move differently, to choose your actions not based on emotion, but based on understanding. It gives you an edge not by being faster, but by being clearer. In clarity, there is speed without rush. In awareness, there is action without chaos. Speaking last is not about being passive, it is about timing. The right word at the right moment carries more impact than 1,000 rushed sentences. When you wait to speak, you give yourself time to align your thoughts, your emotions, your intentions. And when all of that is in alignment, your words carry truth. People feel it even if they do not understand why. They listen, not because you demand attention, but because you command presence. You become a mirror for others. Your silence reflects their truth. Your stillness creates space for their noise to settle, and in that space, they begin to see themselves more clearly. This is the gift you offer when you choose to observe first and speak last. You offer presence in a world that is starving for it. You offer depth in a time of surface. The discipline is to resist the urge to interrupt, to correct, to defend, to prove. Let others speak, let them express, let them show who they are. You do not lose anything by waiting, you gain everything. You gain insight, you gain composure, you gain power, and when it is your time to speak, you will not need to say much, because your silence has already spoken. This kind of intelligence grows slowly, but it lasts forever. It is not built on quick answers, but on deep understanding. And the more you practice it, the more you will notice how often people talk without thinking, how often they miss the point, how often they regret their words. You will feel no need to rush. You will feel no pressure to explain, because your observation has already given you the answer. And when you do speak, your words will not just inform, they will transform. In silence, your mind becomes a container for truth. In observation, your awareness becomes sharp like a blade, and when you finally speak, your words become tools, not weapons. You no longer waste your voice, you no longer leak your power. You speak when it serves, not when it satisfies your ego. Let this be your practice. In every conversation, listen more than you speak. In every situation, watch before you move. Let your insight form in silence. Let your understanding rise from stillness, and let your words come only when they carry the energy of truth. Walk quiet among the loud. Observe what others miss, and speak only when the silence asks you to. The difference between intelligence that fades and intelligence that grows is found in one simple truth. Those who learn from everything become wiser than those who only learn from books. The world is a classroom and every moment is a lesson, but most people walk through life distracted, blind to the teachings hidden in the ordinary. They wait for teachers, for courses, for advice, while ignoring the most powerful source of growth, which is their own direct experience. To become smarter than people twice your age, you must train your mind to extract wisdom from every detail, from every moment, from every challenge. This is not something you wait for, it is something you practice. When your mind is awake, you start to notice what others miss. You start to learn from how people speak, from how they move, from how they respond. You learn from failure, from silence, from discomfort. The lesson is always there, but it is not always loud. Sometimes the greatest truth is hidden in a moment that most people call useless. The difference is in how you look. If your mind is trained to observe, to reflect, to connect, then everything becomes a teacher, even pain, even mistakes, even boredom. But if your mind is lazy, distracted, reactive, then even the best teacher will go unnoticed. To learn from everything is not about thinking harder, it is about paying attention. Most people live on the surface. They experience life without looking deeper. They complain about the same things. They repeat the same mistakes. They avoid the same fears, and because of that they stay stuck. But the one who pays attention begins to see patterns. They see the connection between thought and outcome, between habit and result, between emotion and decision. This awareness creates a different kind of intelligence, not the kind that needs to be tested, but the kind that lives in your actions. Imagine facing a problem that makes you uncomfortable. Most people will try to escape it, distract themselves from it, blame something else. But the wise one looks deeper. He asks, what is this teaching me? What am I not seeing? Where did this begin? That one shift in perspective turns the same problem into a lesson. The pain becomes growth. The failure becomes understanding. The discomfort becomes transformation. This is how wisdom is born. Not from avoiding the storm, but from walking through it with your eyes open. The more you do this, the more automatic it becomes. Your mind becomes conditioned to learn. It starts asking better questions. It starts noticing subtle details. It starts connecting events that once seemed random. And because of that, your awareness expands, your perception sharpens. You start to move with a kind of confidence that does not come from knowing everything. This mindset also gives you emotional strength, because now every situation, even the painful ones, becomes fuel. You are no longer afraid of falling because you know how to rise. You are no longer afraid of loss because you know how to rebuild. You are no longer afraid of discomfort because you know that growth lives on the edge of it. This also makes you humble, because to learn from everything means to admit that you do not know everything. It means that everyone has something to teach, even the ones who are wrong, even the ones who hurt you, even the ones who seem lost. When you see life this way, your mind stays open, and an open mind is a mind that never stops growing. Most people close their minds too early. They think they have it all figured out, and the moment they do, that their growth stops. But when you keep your mind open, life keeps teaching. You begin to see that wisdom